with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. It is Thursday night. It's the Night Terrors, of course. And tonight we dive into a full batch of UFO encounters. So I hope you're in the mood for some extraterrestrial loving, because there's no probing going on, I promise. Nothing like that. Just trying to be cute, I guess. I don't know. I do recover from that. It's like, God, I just want to grab those words back and start over. But here we are. It's a live show. This is as good as it gets. If you're new to the show, thank you for coming in and checking it out. I hope you enjoy what you see, and I hope you'll become part of the Paranormal Portal family. There's a growing community of wonderful people, and a lot of fun doing the shows and hanging out and talking with you guys. So I hope you'll become part of it. And if you will, then by all means, click the subscribe button down below, hit the notification bell, and you'll be notified when we go live right here on YouTube. And that happens Wednesday through Sunday every week, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So whatever that means to your time zone, you'll have to sort that out. But that's when I'm here. That's when I'm here doing what we're doing. But let's see. We got UFO encounters coming tonight. The phone lines are up. If you want to call in and be a part of the show, that's fantastic. These Night Terrors are the shorter format shows. They're just under an hour, right around an hour-ish. And we cover different phenomena each night between Sunday and Thursdays. There's, I think, 4 topics or maybe 5. And then we got strange encounters, UFOs, or not strange phenomena, UFOs encounters, ghostly encounters, cryptid corner, and there's one more. Whatever the one more is. I don't know. Can't think right now. I'm just doing this on the fly. But there's always, hopefully, always a good show here waiting for you. Had a great time today on Trinity with Bigfoot Michigan Rob and Daniela. Had a great interview. Had a wonderful talk. If you missed the notification for that, you can still check that out. Just check out the Paranormal Portal Radio Facebook page. Look for the announcement there. You click it. It was when I was live, but if you click it, you'll go to the rebroadcast, the video on demand on YouTube, and you can check it out. So it was a great time. I really had a nice time talking with him. It was a refreshing interview because we actually did a good amount of the talking. If you ever seen me interviewed before, most of the interviews tend to focus on what I've experienced. And we a little bit about what we do on the show, but mostly about what I've experienced. And that's fine. I love talking about that stuff too. But the interview today was really cool and unique because we spent some time talking about the portal and how it's evolved and changed and what it's becoming versus what it was. And I love that. That was really neat. So it was a lot of fun to have that conversation. Thanks again for having me on, man. That was great. That was a lot of fun. Thank you, Bigfoot Michigan Rob. I see you're in there hanging out. Thanks for having me on. It was a great time. So, I don't know about you, but I think that's everything on the front end. So I hope you all are ready because it's time for bed. Boom. There we go. I got to unmute myself. I forgot that part. Sorry. Something like cat hair in my mouth from my microphone. He likes to rub on the microphone and leaves me a full batch of fun of little fine angelic hairs that go up my nostrils and everything. It's just horrible. So I apologize. I don't mean to play with my nose, but I got to get them out. They drive me crazy. Let's see. I guess that's it. We're underway here. It's now fully underway. And so I forgot to give out the phone number, though, didn't I? If you don't see it already, it's right under the words Paranormal Portal, right up here on the top of your screen. They're kind of small, but that's not by design. It's not because I'm trying to trick you. It's because it's just on my bucket list of things I got to do, and it keeps getting shuffled down to a lower position. So, but it's 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500. If you want to call in and be a part of the show, that's fantastic. Love to hear from you. Love to hear from you. And yeah, so let's get her done. Let's get her done. All right, I got some stuff pulled up for you guys, and don't forget at the tail end of the show, we got a new Trail Cam Terror image coming for you, and this one's creepy. I don't know what the hell's going on in this one tonight, but even if it's one of those images that it could be really creepy and weird, or it could be really creepy and weird, but if it's not paranormal, it's still disturbing as hell, and you'll see what I mean when we show it later, but man, it's creepy. Have you seen my package? I have not. It has not come. Sorry, Nessie. I'm excited to get it for sure, but it hasn't made it. So I keep watching for it, though. Every day I'm watching. But it takes a while, I know, to get parcels from New Zealand over to the U.S. So, I don't know. I don't know how you sent it, but I know it's really expensive and it takes forever. So I'll be excited to see it when it does, and we will certainly showcase that. Maybe it'll be tomorrow. I don't know. I'm hoping. It should be any time, though. So, knocking on wood. Let's get to some of these UFO encounters. What do you guys say? Are you with me? All right. So, first of all, I want to polish up an article that we were going through before, and this is from justforspooks.com. And it's 12 incredible true accounts of UFO encounters. And, take them or leave them. I mean, we don't know for sure, but they're at least alleged to be true. And everything you see on the show is alleged to be true. I'll never bring you guys fake material that, at the very least, I'm going to believe in it and present it for you. But I promise you will never come onto the Paranormal Portal and see absolutely well-known faked stuff. Unless it's something I disagree with, and then I'll quantify that. But let's see what these stories say, shall we? The first one is coming, it's number 5 out of the 12. It says, I don't even know where to start. Maybe the most enlightening experience I had was this. I used to talk about these things that were happening to anyone who was willing to listen. I've become a little more reserved from being heard a few times opening up, and it seemed to me the more I would try to inform people about what happened, the more experiences there would be. There was this guy named Adam that I was hanging out with for a while. I took him home from a friend's apartment one night at around 3 or 4 a.m., which was normal for that time period since I was sleeping until 4 in the afternoon. I'd been trying to talk to people about this stuff nonstop, and when I took him to his house, we chilled, smoked in the driveway, and after a minute, all of a sudden, an intensely bright light appeared over the hill that was less than a mile from his house, and we were both immediately drawn to it. I started looking around, seeing if there was anything else happening, and I looked up. Above us were 2 orbs pivoting around, and I drew his attention to them, and I told him I felt like they showed us that bright light to try to gauge our responses, and we just looked up and waved at the orbs. Then all of a sudden, the sky came to life. There must have been 36 orbs flying around in every direction, and over the horizon the streaks started taking off, and it was definitely a spiritual experience. And it just ends abruptly there, so we don't really know much more about it, but it sounds really intense. Number 6. Edre, West Virginia. One night a few years back, my friend who was driving and I were talking, taking his girlfriend home, and he decided to take the long way home. As we were driving along this fairly deserted back road, I began to zone out, and I stare at this blinking red light off in the distance and casually think to myself, I wonder when they built the cell tower all the way out here. When suddenly it blinks and is dramatically closer than it was just a moment earlier. At this point, my friend points it out and stops in the road. It blinks once more and is directly in front and over the top of us. The red light is so bright, it floods the car in a deep scarlet hue. I lean forward so that I can see directly into the light, and in that brief moment, I feel a flood of negative emotions. Closest description I can offer is that of being naked under a giant microscope and having every pore examined thoroughly. I then look away from the light to my friend and ask him to drive. He barely responds, apparently in a similar state. Then he snaps out of it and starts driving. And as we get a little ways down the road, I notice the red lights not fading and the interior of the car is still clearly lit by it. I look out the window, and to my horror, the light is following us and does so for approximately 1 to 2 miles. The light unexpectedly veers off to the left and comes down to the ground level in a patch of trees adjacent to the road. My friend stops the car again and continues to stare at it, and abruptly declares he is going to get out and look it like he is in some sort of trance. Look at it, I think. Okay. He opens the door, and I grab his arm and tell him if he does, I will get in the driver's seat and leave him. That we had to leave that instant. He looks at me, seems to come to, punches the gas so hard the tires lose traction and spin. The light remains stationary as we rode away, but I've never looked into the night sky the same. There's an edit. It says the incident occurred after dropping off my buddy's girlfriend, so she was not present in my rush to type the story. I actually forgot that part. Wow, that's intense. You got to wonder, did it stop there? Is that where the ending really was? Or is there missing time possibly there or something else? And, you just don't know. But, man, if they're that interested, if they're scanning that aggressively, they're looking for something or someone. Yikes. Number 7, 1997, Colorado Springs, Colorado. I was 8 years old playing in the sand volleyball courts in a park down the street from my house. I was engrossed in my activity, burying my collection of Happy Meal toys in the sand and then digging them back out to repeat. And I was looking down, but decided suddenly that I needed to look up because the world around me had lost all sound. There was no longer any ambient noise. No traffic noise, not from the busy streets, just a block over. No more dogs barking, no more birds chirping. And I looked at the street that bordered the park. And that's when I saw it. I think I remember this one. And it says, it looked like a stealth bomber turned sideways, nose leading. One wing down towards the road and the other pointed up at the sky. Completely shiny black in color. As tall as a house, shaped like an arrowhead. It was cruising the street at about 3 miles per hour, just gliding over the road. I watched it for maybe 20 seconds, as soon as it passed behind some 2-story houses. And out of my sight, I got my hearing back full force. I ran home. I got to read it because it's funny. I ran home in my piss-soaked pants and never spoke a word of it to anybody. And there's an edit here. It says, a quick sketch I made. There's a link. In all of my talented glory, I only lived in Colorado Springs in 1997. I lived on Don Juan Court, so I guess the park I was playing in was called Franklin Park immediately after I moved back to Phoenix just in time for the Phoenix Lights. Man, that's a bunch of bad timing. Let's see if this actually becomes something or not. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So, yeah, it does look like a stealth bomber on the side. That's pretty intense. That's the image that the submitter wrote. So, hi, Mom. Mom says, I'm with you. Good deal. Yeah, that's pretty intense. Now, here's the other thing, and I thought about this in relation to my own sighting as well. And that is, there was no sound. But I don't remember when I saw the saucer that I saw, I don't remember that all sound was gone. This was just floating soundlessly. But this is something that comes up an awful lot. And we talk about it even with cryptid sightings and stuff. Everything going deadly quiet. And that weird suspense that just hangs in the air. I think Kerry Arnold said it. Maybe he got it from somewhere, but I think he said something like, yeah, it's like the forest is holding its breath. And I thought, God, that's just a perfect way to put it. Because I've experienced that. But what if those are not cryptid encounters? Not saying that that's not what Kerry had. But what I'm saying is when the forest goes quiet, it may be a cryptid encounter or something nearby. But what if it's also could just be a UFO? And maybe they can stop the sound waves from spreading. Maybe those things are noisy as hell. And we just don't know it because they can kill their own sound. And just negate it so it doesn't rain around the entire neighborhood. I don't know. I've thought about that. And maybe that's something. Maybe there's something to that. And that could also be part of what the field that's emitted that seems to screw with cars, where they just all of a sudden are dead. And they got to pull over to the side of the road. But that seems almost less intentional. I think that they shut down cars on purpose because they don't want people getting away for whatever reason. But anyway, creepy story. And I remember reading that one years ago. That's a repeat from a long time ago. Number 8, 2010, Los Angeles, California. I was cleaning up and around my apartment when I noticed the kitchen lamp swinging and my building rocking, and obviously earthquake. It lasts for a little bit, and I called my friend to make sure she was okay. As we were chatting, I was standing out on my balcony, which overlooks Runyon Canyon, a popular hiking trail, and I suddenly noticed this object hovering high in between the mountains. It was way too high to be a helicopter and too small to be and low to be a plane. What made it super strange was its shape and lack of movement. It was orb-esque and stood stagnant for about a solid 3 minutes before moving at a snail's pace to the west. I'm talking slower than any aircraft, blimp, kite, whatever that I've ever seen. It also seemed to reflect off the sun, but only at some angles. Well, I grabbed my crappy digital camera. That's a meme somebody posted on the fans group or something. I think maybe it was Viva, but it's like, ooh, a flying saucer. Let me grab my worst camera. Because most of the camera shots of these things are really less than impressive. I grabbed my crappy digital camera and tried to capture it as best I could. After moving towards the left and once again staying completely still, it immediately darted at what seemed like an impossible speed in the opposite direction, upwards, and just disappeared. Plain old man-made government or other, it was one of the weirdest or best sightings I've ever experienced, especially since it was in broad daylight. When I looked through the pictures, I thought I got nothing, but after zooming in, I noticed the object showed up in 3. I don't have any Photoshop or anything, so it's not the clearest quality, but hey, still neat. Hey, there's pictures too. Let's check these out. Hold on. Hopefully they'll open. Let's open this one and this one and this one. But there's 4 pictures here, so I don't know what's going on. This is the first one. I don't see anything initially. Oops. That was not what I intended. Let's go to the next one. Oh, there it is. So it's kind of a orbish, yeah. It's kind of like an orb. Huh, okay. Here it is. It's up here in the corner. Okay, so it's just this little speck up in the sky. But that's still an incredible capture. There's no question. That could be very legitimate. And what was this one? Oh, there's another zoom in shot. Yeah, there it is, folks. The crappiest digital camera capturing the best evidence. Or at least evidence. So I think that's pretty cool. At least the person tried. It's like that. There's a Reddit thread, an effort was made. And this is an effort was made for sure. Like the person is trying to capture something. And you got to give them credit because most people don't make it as far as, hey, let me go grab a camera and see if I can catch this. So that's cool. Very cool. This is from number 9 on our list. It says, I was driving back home to Los Angeles with a friend of mine after visiting family near Phoenix, Arizona, and we were headed west on Highway 58, just out of Boron, California, en route to Mojave to catch the 14. Oh, those street noises names. It was night, and we were jamming out to some music. The next thing I know, I'm waking up, looking around, and realizing that I was pulled over on the side of the road and that approximately 3 hours had passed. My buddy was fast asleep, so I woke him, and we both kind of had a psychological meltdown. After we calmed down, a little, we went home and never really spoke of it since. I have absolutely no idea when or how we transitioned from listening to loud music and driving down the road to waking up on the side of the road. So that would be a great experience for those guys, or at least one of them, to do a regression, because it's amazing the things that come out. And I know there's controversy about regressive hypnosis, but there are some people out there that do a phenomenal job. There's also some that I think kind of seed the regression and they plant images even inadvertently. But I think if you can find a credible person, probably attached to MUFON or one of those groups, they probably know what they're doing pretty well. But it would be neat to hear what else they saw, because there's more. There's more to that story. It's just been blocked off. And that's kind of my biggest complaint with the whole UFO / abduction thing is, what the hell? How come? How come that's allowed? That to me is the biggest offense is why are they allowed to do that? Because some politician may have entered into agreement with them at some point in the distant past. It's horrible. It seems like such a great offense to take away someone's sovereignty and just disregard that completely. But I don't know, maybe these people are somehow fortunate and we just don't understand the phenomena well enough at all. Like there's a story, I don't know if we're going to get time for it, but it's a Brent Swanser story that I pulled up for the show tonight as well. And it deals with someone that was healed from pretty incredible disease, horrible disease, and was spontaneously healed. I didn't read through it all, but it's just on the headline, and it's a Brent Swanser story, so it's good. But that's from February of this year on Mysterious Universe. If we get a chance to get to it, I will, because what an amazing thing to have happen. And it's good to hear something good come out of this stuff, rather than, oh, hey, guess what? I've got leukemia now after I was sucked up into the aircraft. A lot of that stuff comes out, and it's really heartbreaking. But if there's some good to it, then I think that's wonderful. It says, let's go to number 10 here. And then if we have 2 more after this, it says, I've seen a couple of weird lights occasionally, and I have no recollection of being abducted, but when I was 12 or so, I felt something hard and round in my earlobe. I told everyone, and they said it was just an under-the-skin zit. Pretty normal for someone my age, but it was there for 6 months. Annoyed, I decided to do some self-surgery. I could feel it very near the surface, and poked a hole in my ear and sterilized with a sterilized needle. Blood everywhere. I could feel this thing, and I squeezed it upwards towards the hole, and I just pierced, and out pops this tiny metal ball. Maybe half the size of a BB, but it was black metal, completely spherical, with an indentation around the center and a teeny tiny golf ball-like indentations. As I was rolling it around in my blood-covered pictures, it slipped, spun around the sink a couple of times, and fell down the drain. At 12, I had no idea what the hell to do with it, and my parents didn't believe a word I said and told me to just put some tea tree oil on my zits next time. It's just, you got to take better care of your skin. You don't do surgery because you got a zit. I have never had anything like it since. Well, that's the interesting thing. What if? So there's been plenty of people that have had these implants removed, and some of these implants have been tested and come up with metals that aren't even from Earth. And there's some bizarre attempts at explanations. Like, well, it could have been a little meteorite. So there's no entry wound, there's no scar, there's nothing. There's just a rigid something under the skin. They get it removed, find out it's an exotic metal, and one of the explanations they get from people trying very hard to make it normal is that, well, maybe you got hit by a little micrometeorite. Well, if you did, you would have a hole in you. It had to get in there somewhere. You would have scarring. You would have something to show that you just got hit. Now, sometimes those very same people that get them out, they'll find new ones. They'll find new ones somewhere else, like they've been reimplanted with some kind of tracking device. And again, it's a claim. I don't know anything about it to any specific degree, but it's a claim that's out there. So it's incumbent upon me to bring it to the table. Like people have said that they had one, had it removed, had it tested, wasn't from Earth, and then suddenly they got a new one. And then so there's some people that seem to get re-tagged. And I don't know if it keeps happening every time they get it removed or not, but it seems they're pretty persistent with their methodology. So this person was a little kid, found a little ball zit in his ear, popped it open, removed it, went down the sink, and never had anything else happen. Well, maybe it just moved. Maybe they just put another one in somewhere else. I don't know. It's creepy stuff. Again, it's really creepy stuff, but there you have it. Number 11. I was at a program called Wilderness Quest in Utah when I was 17 years old. Well, long story short, our small group saw a weird light in the sky, moving at incredible speeds in multiple directions. It then seemed to enter our atmosphere and accompanied by a large flash of light. Moments later, 16 fighter jets and 8 stealth bombers and 1 large radar plane flew over our heads. To the area, we witnessed the strange light. It was a super clear night. In the middle of the Utah desert, you can see the night sky extremely well, so we were able to count all the planes with ease. I'm surprised you could look up at night and notice a stealth bomber, though. That seems like it would be a little hard. I mean, you could see that it was planes, maybe. You could hear that it was planes, but could you really that accurately identify them? Well, anyway, let's continue. The next day, a new wilderness guide showed up. Said he used to work for NORAD and asked us a bunch of questions about what we saw. The next morning, he was gone, and no one ever heard of him again. The reports in the paper said it was a Genesis satellite crashing. There's no way in hell that thing was a satellite crashing. And that's all we got. But wow. Yeah, there again. Those explanations are so sophomoric. It's just, it's not that satellites never crash, but come on. Would they scramble fighter jets and stuff if they did? I don't think so. Probably, unless it's a spy satellite and it had some kind of top secret intelligence use. But anyway, the last one on the list. One night I go down to the kitchen to drink water. It's about 4 a.m. And I hear this weird kind of low-pitched buzzing sound coming from outside. I go out to the backyard, and I kid you not, I see this bright rounded object, UFO, hovering about 600 feet right above me. Well, I just froze there. I almost felt like I was paralyzed for a moment. I watched it ascend higher into the air and take off at incredible speed to disappear into the wintry clouds. Well, that night I had a dream that I was abducted. Now, when I think about it, I wonder if the dream was real, but I purposely made it seem like it was a dream. I obviously don't know for sure, but really scary stuff. Yeah, I imagine it's a coping mechanism, right? So if you get sucked up into a craft, probably about the first thing you're going to want to do is make it seem much more ordinary. That's horrible. Very horrible. And again, I don't know. you have to be the judge, of course, because none of us can say for sure. And these are clearly pulled from somewhere like a Reddit or something like that. And, anytime you read something on Reddit, you take it, take it however you want, I guess. They could all be real. They could all be fake. I can't substantiate or vouch for any of them, but I'm bringing them to you. And hopefully, at the very least, you found them entertaining, and some of the discussion around them is fun. I think it is. I think that stuff is awesome. It's awesome. So you'll have to let me know. I like talking about UFOs, though, because it's not something we do probably enough here on the shows. And it's certainly an incredibly huge phenomenon that's been going on, well, for possibly throughout history, the history of mankind. We may even be, as some suggest, engineered race. And that to me does make sense. And I mentioned this on other shows, that we are the only naturally occurring organism that is not suited for life here. We are absolutely born helpless. We can't survive without coverings and being sheltered from the first day of our lives to the last day of our lives. We need to have clothing and barriers, and we need to do these things. And we're just not suited very well for life. At least, and some may say, well, where we were, it was nice and warm, but we've since moved out. Well, that's still true. But I mean, if you look at nature, when nature's babies are born, if they're aquatic, they can swim. If they're land animals, they can walk. If they're capable of hanging on to their mom. Hell, kangaroos are born as barely much more than an embryo and will crawl their way up to the sack to latch onto a nipple. It's like, this is a Herculean feats. But if you took a newborn human and put it down, it would stay on the ground until it was no longer alive. It has no ability whatsoever, in any sense of the word, to care for itself. And that to me seems suspect, because every other example of life that we have here is very well suited for its place, for where it is. Now, obviously, that's an oversimplified statement probably, but I think it's still a pretty poignant example that we might be engineered. There's no real solid common ancestor for us coming. There's, the idea of evolution, and we can see that there are hominid groups that we very may well have sprung from, but there's still, issues in that translation. There's still issues. I don't know. Now, some people say, well, it's the fossil record. And here's the thing. The fossil record is not a table of contents. It's a ever-growing and expanding record of life. It's not this completed work. There's always things being added to the fossil record, new discoveries. If you listen to the talk, and I would encourage all of you to do this, especially if you're kind of toying with the idea of, are we an engineered species? Listen to a YouTube video done by a gentleman named Lloyd Pye. And I mention this all the time because, seriously, it's one of the very few things I've ever watched that literally blew me away. I was like, and the name of the talk is Everything You Know Is Wrong. And he's unfortunately no longer with us. He was an incredible man, was involved in a lot of research and looking into some of the Paracas skulls, the elongated skulls, the Star Child. He was involved in a lot of that stuff, and really brought some amazing things to the table for all of us. And there's a lot of questions there, folks. And I think it all kind of stems from, Graham Hancock's work along with Lloyd Pye, with Zachary Stitchin. There's a lot of people that have contributed to this whole dialogue. And, I'm not trying to say that we definitely are or aren't. I don't pretend to know, but I would say there's definitely questions that we still have to answer about where we come from. Were we engineered to do work for these otherworldly beings that wanted gold or whatever? And that's kind of the premise for what Lloyd Pye talks about. And maybe we were. That doesn't really change anything. It doesn't really diminish us, I don't think. It just creates an interesting origin point, and we're still we're still incredibly dynamic, powerful spiritual beings. So to me, it doesn't change a lot. Doesn't matter where you've been. It only matters where you're going. That's my feeling on it. But, everybody come to your own conclusions. This show will never be about telling you what to believe. Bring your own belief system into it. Add it to the discussion. This is an ever evolving discussion of possibilities, and that's what the portal is. Deep subject. You're right, Ruthie. Very much so. And again, I'm not coming from a real informed place on this. I just have little bits of pieces of information, and this is what I've pulled together, just understanding the little that I do understand. So, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Ruthie's always researching. I don't doubt that for sure. The new priesthood stands to lose a lot by coming clean, Jordan. Yeah, I suppose that's true. But anyway, it was a great article. They did a nice job on it. Even if it is just farmed from Reddit or whatever, it still has some great information in there. So I hope you enjoyed that. Now, where are we at with the time? 7:30. Yeah, I think we can get to this. I got to look though, because I'm trying to close up some shop on these old tabs. I got like a tab farm here on my browsers. It's not the most clean and concise thing. Do you hear my stomach? I haven't even eaten today. Well, no, I had a banana earlier, so I got to get something to eat. Where is it? Okay. So there's that. Okay. I got a great article also that I just stumbled on from Brent Swanser. It's one of his new ones, but I'm really excited to talk about it because I had no idea there was so much going on with some of the old alchemists. It's really, really pretty interesting stuff. So if you're into alchemists, yeah. And it's one in particular that was mentioned on Harry Potter. I was like, what? That was a real guy? Apparently it was. This Nicholas Flamel. We'll talk about it. He was, if you watch the movies or have alchemical knowledge, you know that Nicholas Flamel is the alchemist that allegedly created the Philosopher's Stone or the Sorcerer's Stone. So, all right, we're going to get into this article. I don't know how. Let me look and see how long it is. It doesn't look too bad. No, we should be able to get through this. We'll get through this article, and then we'll go on to the Trail Cam Terrors. And that should be our journey for tonight. I want to take a look and see who's here. Who is here with me? If you want to shout out, you got to start typing something in the chat because I only know who's chatting. So I got Bigfoot Michigan Rob, blessings for Julie, and Blue Line Bigfoot. Good to see you guys. Bomber's in here. Oh, somebody just popped up. Android popped up. Good to see you. Digger Dog, Drake C. Ethan's here. Isaac Ariola is here. Jordan Cogburn, Miss Real Dill is here. Jordana just popped up. Hi, Jordana. I don't know if it said Drake. I think I did, but this now they're just coming out of the woodwork. Gem Gwyn is here. I'm not even sure how to pronounce that, Gemini. Gem Gwyn, I think. It's like a penguin. Rachel gets it right. Ruthie's here. JCL Ohio is here. Good to see you. Thank you all for coming in and being a part of the journey. Oh, someone else popped in. Don Walker. I saw that one pop up, so good to see you guys. Thanks. Titan. All right, Titan. Good to see you, brother. And Real Dill and Bomber, you guys are representing. Got the mods. Got the mod squad. That's an old TV show, man. I'm really dating myself. I think that's actually before my time. For the record, I'm not quite that old, but the mod squad. Oh, War Child is here. Good to see you. Thank you for coming in. Thank you all for being here. And again, if you're new to the show, please get subscribed. Love for you to become part of the journey that is the portal. We do live shows Wednesday through Sunday. And then there's also a podcast, which is a completely separate show. And you can find that on Pandora, Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, CastBox, etc., etc. So those are all audio only, but the live streams are happening here. So, and definitely get involved with our social media. We're on Instagram. We are on Facebook, facebook.com/Paranormal Portal Radio. And check out the fans group, Paranormal Portal fans, too. There's always great discussions going all over the place. So, and thank you for all the help you guys bring to those as well. Excuse me. All right, so let's get to this article, and we'll keep digging in. This is an article, I think it's interesting, and I got to admit, I've not heard of this before. There's an article from Brent Swanser, and Brent is a friend, great guy. He's got his own group on Facebook. It's called Dark League Paranormal. Check it out. But he's an incredible writer. He writes for mysteriousuniverse.org, which is an amazing site for all things Fortean. Please check them out. Give them love. They got a great podcast as well. So a lot going on over there. But they've got thousands of articles over on Mysterious Universe about every topic you can imagine. Nick Redfern writes over there, Paul Seaburn, and several other people outside of Brent Swanser as well. They got some amazing people doing incredible stuff over there, so definitely support the work. This is the councilwoman who was cured of cancer by aliens. This is dated by Brent Swanser, dated February 24th of this year. Brand new, or really pretty new. Do aliens sometimes come to us with benevolent intent? Lynn Plaskett has quite a run of things. Has had quite a run of things. Former councilwoman of the Volusia County Council, as well as 2 terms as vice mayor for the city of New Smyrna Beach, Florida. She's had a successful career, considered to be an expert on planning and zoning issues, and still very much involved with a number of community organizations, including Habitat for Humanity, Salvation Army, and a Council on Aging, and the Department of the Interior. She seems like a bright light, engaging in successful figure in her community. And she also just happens to have her share of inexplicable experiences, such as the time she claims aliens cured her of cancer. In 1975, Plaskett went in for a routine physical examination at the doctor's, but came away with very grim news. She was told that she had carcinoma in her uterus and that she would likely require a hysterectomy. A biopsy was performed, and it would turn out that this procedure would not be needed. But they also found out that she had a rare T-cell lymphoma in her neck. And not only that, it was estimated that she likely only had about 3 months to live. As the cancer had spread to invade her entire body, this was crushing news, as she had a son and a family and wasn't sure how to break this news to them. At first, she didn't at all. Instead, just going home and crying inconsolably in her bedroom, which at that time was in Long Beach, California. However, it would turn out that she was not alone in that room as she first suspected. And there she is. Okay. A lovely woman. Okay. As she sat there, lost in her despondency and weeping uncontrollably, she allegedly heard a strange buzzing noise, which sounded mechanical in nature. Curious as to where the sound was coming from, she looked around the seemingly empty room, and that was when she noticed a mist filling the area, as well as a small disc-shaped object. She would say of her bizarre experience, "I'm lying in bed, and I hear this electronic buzzing sound behind me, like it's emanating from the wall. The room filled up with a fog-like smoke. I was levitated off my bed, and a disc-like object about 8 inches in diameter came in, hovered over me, passed 3 times down the length of my body, but never touched me. It was almost as if it was examining me. I know it wasn't God. I know it wasn't of this earth. It was alien in nature. Everything went back to the way it was. The smoke cleared. I was back on my bed, and I went to sleep. When I woke the next morning, I knew I was going to be all right. I knew I was not going to die." She says that at first she didn't remember anything after this, waking up in her bed the next morning without any memory of what had happened at all. According to her, she just assumed she had fallen asleep as usual, and at the time she couldn't even recall the strange fog or the mysterious disc. When she went to see her doctor for a checkup on the progress of her cancer, it was found to have decreased drastically, much to the shock of all present. The cancer would continue to dwindle in the coming months until, after 4 months, it was in complete remission. The doctors couldn't believe it, but extensive scans and workups all came to the conclusion that this woman, who had not been expected to live long at all, was now mysteriously cancer-free. Plaskett at the time did not relate this to her strange encounter at her home. Excuse me. And indeed, she didn't even remember that at the time. It would not be until 1981 that the memory would come back after watching a show on UFOs in which she heard the same distinct buzzing sound she had heard. This brought her memories racing back to the top of her mind. And she would find out later that her sister had actually come home at the time and heard the buzzing too, but had been too nervous about opening the door. Even after remembering what had happened, Plaskett would keep the experience to herself before deciding to come out with it on a segment of the Maury Povich Show. that's probably not the best forum to pick. In 1996. I mean, they weren't usually throwing chairs, but it was more of a Jerry Springer kind of thing than it was Oprah. But anyway, which also happened to coincide with the re-election campaign. She was running for the Volusia County Council. Sorry. Her aliens claims made major headlines at the time and ultimately costed her the re-election, though she would go on to win election into the new Smyrna Beach City Commission in 2003. Oh, there they are. Lovely. As to her story of aliens curing her cancer, what else? What are we to make of this? Was it some sort of misguided publicity stunt, or is there anything to it at all? Plaskett has given proof from medical records that she indeed was diagnosed with cancer in April of 1975, and in fact did experience a complete remission with 4 days. But this apparently happened after she had started chemotherapy, which perhaps takes some of the mysterious edge off of it all. One skeptical oncologist by the name of Dr. Walter Durkin has said of Plaskett's remission, "Back then, we had reasonably good treatment for lymphoma. Lymphomas are very chemotherapeutically sensitive. Today, about 90% of lymphoma patients go into remission, and half are cured for good. Would a 4-day turnaround seem unusual? No, not at all. Cancer patients given little time to live often don't know how to explain it if they are suddenly get better. They often fill that gap in their understanding with recollections of miracles or strange encounters. What she should be doing is encouraging people to get treatment because her doctor was the one who cured her." So what are we dealing with here? Was this woman cured of cancer by aliens, and if so, why? Is this merely a publicity stunt or the rantings of a delusional mind? Is there something we are perhaps missing here? One thing that can be agreed upon is that Plaskett is well-respected former politician and member of the community. So would there be any reason for her to make any of this up? Is there a chance that she is just mistaking her normal remission from cancer as something more mysterious? Whatever the case may be, it certainly is an intriguing case, which remains unresolved. There you have it. I don't know. Could it have been aliens? Sure. I often think about that, actually. It's like they've got all this talent, all this technology, all of this ability. They could if they are here, and I believe they are, they could remove many and most diseases from the map. It'd be like Corona what? Because they could just take care of that. And I don't know. It's tough to know why one versus another. That's like one of the grand questions, right? Somebody gets better, somebody doesn't. Why did one get better, one didn't? I don't know. Is there a reason? Is there a purpose? Maybe. I like to think that everyone has a journey, has a destination for their life, and maybe that's what this person needed to live for, was because they still had more to do. But at any rate, good story, I think. I think that's pretty cool. And he always does a great job. I love reading his work. This is actually one of his shorter articles, as it worked out, and that worked out good for our time. But most of his articles, I walk away having learned so much about things I thought I knew. There's one example is we did these reports on UFOs here and there throughout the course of the show. For many years, we have. Ever since the show's been around, UFOs have been one of the topics we covered, and I came across this story. And it was literally a little blurb in the weirdest UFO cases around the world. And it talked about this little flying saucer appearing in a group of school kids in Malaysia. And it landed, and they saw it doing, these people getting out and doing stuff. And one of them was dressed differently, and the kids thought it was really cool. And so one of the kids goes and like picks up one of the alien guys like an action figure, because they're dinky little guys. And then the little alien guys start shooting their guns, and the kid gets shot, and it's like a little pinprick kind of wound, but scares the kids off, and they flee. And I thought, wow, what an interesting story. I'd never even heard something like this. And I looked around, but I never found any more. Brent Swanser did an article on that same topic, and he found a whole chain of events over in Malaysia and Asia that tied into that, of people seeing these diminutive UFO craft. And it's kind of like, what is it, the Men in Black, where they're coming in, the big armada's coming in, and like a dog just bites them and takes on the whole fleet. And, I guess it's possible. Not every planet has to be huge, right? So interesting stories all the same. But I love his work, and it's been a welcome addition to the show for years. Brent Swanser's amazing. So I guess that brings us to, folks, as we're at the tail end of the show here, we better check out some trail cam terrors. Oops, that wasn't supposed to be up. Welcome to the trail cam terrors and my inability to plan effectively ahead. So tonight's image is a weird image, and it's one I can't say I've ever seen before. Now, it's not necessarily paranormal. I don't know what the hell's going on. But if it's not paranormal, it's still paranormal, because this trail cam is out in Florida, is all I know. There's very little information about it, but it's out in Florida, in the forests or the Everglades, and out comes this guy. Here's the guy. And I don't know about you, but there looks like something seriously wrong with this guy. I don't know. Maybe he's freaked out because he got dumped by his friends and is running all along in boxers through the woods. I don't know. Maybe he's flipping out because he's a possessed man. I don't know. Is he a skinwalker in mid-change? He almost looks Lupin in a way. Like I'm inserting a lot into this, but whatever this is, whatever's going on with this guy, it's very strange. Could it be staged? Absolutely. Could be just somebody dorking around in front of a trail cam they found because they thought it was funny. And that wouldn't surprise me a whole lot either. But if this was just out in the middle of nowhere and there's no signs of people being around, and this image came up on your cam, I don't know about you, but I'd be really concerned. I would be very concerned. And this image is from, looks like November 30th of 2010. Okay. So it comes from Florida, November 30th, 2010. I don't know if Forest Cam is a manufacturer or what that is, but creepy picture. Could be paranormal, but it's definitely paranormal because it's not normal. So you be the judge though, but I think there's something really weird about that. That guy looks way off. Could be just a weird acid trip for all we know, but that's still really twisted. So that, folks, is tonight's trail cam terror. You be the judge. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think it's just a stage shot? Somebody screwing around, found a trail cam and decided to leave some questionable images, or is there something more maybe? I don't know. Or if you know more about the images, if ever on the show I'm showing a trail cam image and I'm saying I can't find much about it and you know more about it, please let me know. I'd love more explanation, because I don't pretend to know it all. I'm just finding things to put on here because they're interesting and they're weird. So anything you have to add to it, I appreciate. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be our journey into the trail cam terrors. Let me get this back up, and boom. Why isn't it howling? Is it howling for you guys? What the hell? Let's just see what's going on here. I don't like that. Oh, it's supposed to howl again. But anyway, it's the portal. Things work half the time, and they don't work real well the other half. So it's my lot in life. But I hope you've enjoyed this journey into the paranormal portal on the night terrors. thank you all so much for being here. Hope you enjoyed the conversation. Hope you found something value in the show. If you're new, I hope you'll subscribe and become part of the family. And again, keep a watch for the podcasts. God, where's my head? The podcasts are coming out once a week, every Sunday. Once in a while, I'll throw out a bonus show. I've got a bonus show I'm going to put out here, maybe tonight yet. It's one that Don dug up, and it's actually a repurpose from one of my first shows that I ever did on TFR when I first started the portal. And I listened to it, and the information is okay, but man, my delivery sucked. It really sucks. So I don't know. I'll throw it out as a bonus episode. Like, hey, here's one from the vault. This is kind of a trip down memory lane, but talking about vampires though, which is, I found some cool stuff to put in there about vampires, but it's a tough subject to get too in depth about. But anyway, watch for that if you're a listener of the podcasts. I don't know. Might be just reasonable listening. It might be enjoyable. But at any rate, I love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. I'll be back tomorrow night with 2 hours, our Friday show. And we'll be broadcasting on TFR, iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream, as well as streaming live on YouTube. So I hope you'll join us then. 2 full hours tomorrow, and then Don will be back on Saturday, and we'll crack open another fun fest on then. So you guys have a great night. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. Love, love, love. Lots of love. All right, guys. Good night.